So today we're going to learn how to make a classic looking UFO using an array modifier. So the first thing you'll want to do is go to File and User Preferences, go to Input here and select Emulate Numpad. Emulate 3-button mouse if you're using a trackpad, but I would highly recommend using the mouse instead. Then we will save the settings here. And then we will delete this key, so we'll go to Tools and Delete. Then we will go to Add here and say Add Empty and then Main Axis. Then we will go to Add once again, go to Mesh and select Icosphere. Then we will press the button 1 to go to the front view. We will zoom in, then go to Edit Mode and Wireframe. Click A to deselect everything, then B to select the bottom half of the vertices, and then we will delete this, going to remove and delete vertices, because we will be using the icospheres as little lights that will go around the UFO top. So now let's go to 7 for top view and zoom out. Then select the sphere in object mode, and we'll go back to solid just so that it's easier to look at. And then we will go here and select this here and add a modifier. And we will select array, and we'll change the count here to 8. So this creates 8 icospheres in a row. And then we'll select constant offset and object offset, and deselect relative offset here, and object offset, and we will select empty. Then we will go back here down here, and go to edit mode and use B to select, and then transform with the letter G, and then click the letter Y to move along the y-axis. We'll move it up from the y-axis, maybe here. Then click to set the transformation. Then we will select the empty over here and click R to rotate, and then Z to rotate along the z-axis. And we will rotate by 45 degrees here. We'll just enter 45 degrees. This creates, so we had the 8 icospheres that we had created previously, and now we're rotating around the Z on the empty axis that we created initially to create, to move the spheres at equal angles all the way around the circle, so at 45 degrees every time. So now I've come back and I've selected icosphere on this right side panel. I will go to edit mode and press S to scale down the icospheres for a smaller size. Okay, go down a little bit, then click to enter the transformation. Now I'm going to move my cursor here to create the body of the UFO. So I will go to go back to object mode and then add mesh and UV sphere. So now I'm going to click S to scale it to be a little bigger. Okay, just about this size should do. Now I will go to 1 for front view, and I will hide the icospheres temporarily. Now I will go to edit mode and select wireframe to select the middle 3 vertices, or rows of vertices, in this sphere. So I'm going to click A to deselect, and then B, and I'm going to select the middle 3 rows. I suggest maybe zooming in here because it's a little hard to see. Now press B and okay. Now I will go to 7 to see top view, and now I will once again show the icospheres. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and I'll press scale to bring out these middle vertices past the icospheres. I think this should do it. Now if I go to 1 again, I should press A to deselect, and A again to select all, and I will use this arrow here to move down along the y-axis so that the lights here sit on top of this sphere. So now I'm going to edit this sphere to make it look as much as possible like the classic UFO shape. So I'm going to click A again to deselect, and B to select the bottom half of the sphere. Now I'm just going to click on this blue arrow to move it up a little bit closer. I will once again deselect by pressing A again, and now I will select the middle vertices by clicking B. And let's see if I can do this. Okay. Just make sure you've selected everything. Yeah, it looks good. Now I will go to top view with 7, and now click scale, and I will bring them out just a little bit. I will go back to 1, front view, and I'm going to once again select the bottom half. Well, actually no, I'm going to click A to deselect all. Now I'm going to click object mode, continue in edit mode, but then go to solid mode, and I'm going to add array and extra vertices along this line to create more of that curved feeling. So I'm going to click Control R, and I see this purple line that shows me where I'm adding this set of vertices. I'm going to click this to enter, and now I'm going to leave it there in the middle. Now I'm going to press scale once more to bring it out a little bit. And maybe bring it up. So in this way you can make it look like a much smoother curve. So I will once again press A, then press Control R, and add another one, then press scale, and perhaps bring it up a little bit again. And maybe press scale again. Try and make it look good. So now let's have a look at what we're doing so far. Looks pretty good. I think we can perhaps move the bottom half, or maybe, yeah, move the bottom half of the sphere up once more. So we'll go back to wireframe, then we'll click 1 for front view, maybe move it this way so it's easier to select, press A to deselect, and B to select the bottom half. And I will use this blue arrow to move it up. Now let's go back to solid mode and press A to deselect, just to have a look at how this sphere is looking. Let's see, zoom out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to now go to view bottom, and I'm going to select just this bottom sphere part to add more of the angle. So I'm going to press A to make sure I haven't selected something else, then press B and select just this bottom part. So because we are in solid mode, instead of selecting the vertices on this side as well as the other side, solid mode allows you to select only on one side of the object, like this. If I had had it in wireframe mode, then I would be able to select both on this side and on the other side of the object. But anyways, let's go back to bottom view. I'm not sure what the number is. Let's see. Actually, we'll go to front view, and then we'll press scale, and not scale. We'll press this key here to bring it down just a little bit, to have more of that tilt here. Okay, so now I'm going to press A to deselect, and I will do the same on the top. So I will press 7 for top view, then B to select this here. Okay, and make sure you haven't selected anything else by accident. Yes. Now I will once again use this blue arrow to bring it up. Okay. So this is when the icospheres start to not match up very well with the object. So as I bring this up a little bit and maybe scale it out a little bigger with the letter S, okay, now I will go to select the icosphere here, and I will go to edit mode, and now I'm going to rotate on the x-axis to tilt it so that it matches the body of the UFO a little more. So I'm going to press R for rotate, and then X to rotate along the x-axis. So maybe bring it, let's see what this looks like. Okay, I'm going to press R again and then X just to get the right angle here. It's a little bit tricky. Okay, so now it's got a little bit more of a tilt. So now I've gone to the top view by clicking begin adding material to my UFO. So the first thing I will do is, in order to select this more easily, I'm going to add another line of vertices or edges on the UFO body. So I'm going to first select the sphere, and then I'm going to press Control R. Oh, in edit mode. Control R. Then I'm going to click to add one, and I'm going to move it in rather close, but not that close to the middle of, well, this protruding section. Then I'm going to smooth out my UFO. So I'll go to this thing here, Object Modifiers, and I'll do Add Modifier and Subdivision Surface. And here I'm going to add 5. And as you can see, it became smoother. So you can drag around to see more. It's more obvious that it's become a lot smoother now. And I'm going to change the same thing for render so that when it renders it has that same smoothness. So now I'm going to go back to, going to click 7 again and go back to top view. So now I'm going to press A to deselect, and I'm going to hide the icosphere so that I can more easily select the middle section. Now I will use B to select this middle sphere, or half circle, and select. So now I'm going to deselect the D section so I only really have the middle selected. This is so that the material only applies to this middle part instead of going all the way out to these outer vertices. So I'm going to press C, and I'm going to press Shift, and holding Shift I'm going to select these vertices to deselect them. I'm going to go around and do that. Okay, now I'm going to right click to go out of this tool. Now I'm going to go to Materials, and making sure that I'm in Cycles Render, I'm going to say New, and then I'm going to, under Surface, select Glass. Then I'm going to choose a color. I'm going to go for green. The glass can be any color you like. I'm just making it green so that it's kind of alien themed. And I'm going to change this IOR value to 0.9 so that the glass is see-through. And then I'm going to call this material glass just so that it's easier to find later. And I'm going to assign it. It's important to assign it, otherwise it's not going to work the same way. Then I'm going to say Control I to select the inverse. I'm going to add a new material here. I'll call this the UFO body material. And I'm going to make this a shiny metal type of thing. So I'll go to Glossy under Surface, and then I'll select a gray on this sidebar here. Make it a little darker gray. Okay. Then I'm going to say Assign. Then I'm going to go to rendered here to get a preview of what I've just done. This might take a bit depending on your machine. So now you can see that we have a glass material on the upper part of the UFO, and the rest is this gray material. In order to see this glossiness more effectively, we're going to select lamp in this section here, and then sun, and then I'm going to drag this, and you can see it appearing. The sun, I'm making the sun brighter. Okay, so now you can see that it's a shiny material. It's much more obvious, and now you can see the shape in a much more obvious way. So now I'm going to go, actually before that, I'm going to go back to icosphere and click this eye again to see it. And so now you can see here that the icosphere spheres are actually a little bit staggered or a little bit off from the body. So to fix this, I'm going to go to edit mode, go back into solid mode. So now I'll be editing, so by editing this one icosphere, I'll actually be editing all the rest of them at the same time. And so I'm going to click R for rotation, and then I'm going to rotate on the x-axis, so I'm going to select X. And I'll rotate downwards a little bit. Okay, I think that should do it. Let's see. It's more obvious when you look at this one because you can see the bottom edge here, and you can see that it's going inwards, so it's not outside of or on top of the UFO body. So now we'll go back to object mode and we'll go back to rendered to see if that worked. So now you can see, you can see that it's still sticking up just a little bit. Rotate, go back into solid mode here, and I'll select R and then X to rotate on the x-axis. Okay, now we can try that again. Render. See, yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, so now I'm going to add a material to the icospheres. So I'm going to go back to solid mode, and I think we can go to object mode, and I have the icosphere selected here. I'm going to add a new material, and this time I'm just going to make them yellow, and there's a couple ways you can do this. One of them is to select emission, and that means that this material will now emit light, so it's much more obvious in rendered mode. So if we change the strength of this light here back to 1, you can see that it's kind of emitting light. It's not very obvious. But I'm going to change this back to 4, and I'm just going to make the icospheres not emit, but rather just maybe glossy as well. Or no, not glass, sorry, glossy. So they look kind of metallic in some way. Yeah. So there you have it, a UFO. You can experiment by adding a little guy in here, so this is a bit of a bonus. If you go back to solid mode and now hide the icosphere and your sphere and go to top view and try to get this as centered as possible. And I'll check on the side, yeah, okay. And now we go to add mesh and we can select monkey. So I'll go back to 1 for front view, and I'm going to scale this by pressing S, and then just move it in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to add a material to this little dude. I'll make him brown. You can find out on the color wheel, which is kind of hard sometimes. It's red, orange, something like that. Dark orange, okay, that'll do. And now, if I just reselect the icosphere here, or view, and then the sphere, if I go into rendered mode, since I've created the top half is in, this top half is in glass, we should be able to see the monkey. We may have to add a light. So in order to see the monkey better, we can select him again because she looks a little small, Suzanne. Press S to scale outwards. Okay. And now I'm going to add a light just below him. So I'm going to go back into solid mode. I'm going to then deselect sphere and icospheres, and I'm going to add a light just below him. So I'll go to add and lamp, and I believe hemi or area works pretty well. We just want to make this pointing upwards to illuminate the monkey and bring it down below the monkey. And let's see that again. Rendered. So now I can select this light here, and I can change the strength to 1000. Sometimes, or spot perhaps works better. You have to experiment with the lighting. Sometimes it's more obvious than other times, especially if you try to hide the other lamp in the scene. The lighting can become more obvious. That's kind of a tricky thing. But yeah, so I'm going to temporarily hide this and have this light come back on. And now you have it. We can go to camera view, active camera, and we can lock the camera view here. And now I can move my objects inside of it, so I have a good view of it. And maybe select the monkey again, press GY to move it up. Oh. Okay, and now we have our monkey here, and now we can go into render. And here you can do a sample rendering. At a low quality, so this will render faster. And then when you want to render for your final time, I'll just render at this quality rate, or this sampling rate, just to see what it will look like. But it might take a while. So I'll pause now, and I'll show you again when it's done. And here you have it, folks. A finished UFO. In order to export this as a JSON file, you will have to combine the UFO and the icospheres as one object, because now, for the time being, they're two objects. And you can do that by selecting both of them here and then pressing Ctrl J. And apart from that, since everything is using materials rather than texture mapping, you can also save those materials and use those inside your WebGL application. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you very much.